Welcome to today's Explainer, where we're going to break down some absolutely terrifying physics. We are asking one massive question. What exactly would happen if the Earth just stopped spinning for just 5 seconds?
Picture this. You're commuting to work on a perfectly calm Tuesday morning, sipping your coffee, and suddenly, out of nowhere, the entire planet just hits the brakes for a quick 5-second pause. Would you even notice a tiny blip like that?
Well, spoiler alert, you'd notice. Because everything, and I mean literally everything that isn't bolted deep into the bedrock would instantly launch into the sky. It would, without a doubt, be the absolute deadliest 5 seconds in human history, wiping entire cities right off the map before you could even take your next breath.
So let's get into it. Section 1. The world in motion, and understanding our planet's hidden speed.
Right this very second, sitting there watching this, you are actually hurtling through space at over 1,000 miles per hour at the equator. Just to put that into perspective for you, that is way faster than a commercial flight going from New York to LA.
Now you're probably wondering, why don't I feel like I'm moving that fast? Well, it's because we're basically sitting inside a perfectly smooth moving train. As long as the speed is constant, you feel absolutely nothing. But imagine the sheer disaster of that high-speed train just instantly slammed on its brakes.
This all comes down to a fundamental law of physics, inertia. Objects want to keep moving in the same direction unless an external force stops them. So if the solid ground beneath us suddenly freezes, well, your body, your car, your house, they don't. They all keep flying eastward at that same 1,000 miles per hour.
Which brings us to Section 2, the sudden stop. Let's look at these 5 seconds of unprecedented chaos.
Let's break down the actual timeline here, because it happens in the literal blink of an eye. At second 1, the ground freezes and objects launch eastward. By second 2, the sheer stress causes skyscrapers to snap and collapse and bridges to just completely fail. Second 3, impossibly violent 1,000-mile-per-hour winds rip the very foundations out of the ground. And by second 5, the oceans violently breach the continents. That wind brings us to section 3, the 1,000-mile-per-hour storm, and what happens when the atmosphere becomes a weapon.
See, what's really wild is that our atmosphere doesn't just stop moving when the dirt does. Because the air keeps racing at over 1,000 miles per hour, humanity would be trapped inside the world's most violent storm. Imagine the absolute worst hurricanes you've ever seen hit the Gulf Coast, and multiply that exponentially. We're talking winds that would instantly flatten whole forests and toss massive steel cargo ships miles inland like they were bathtub toys.
Next up is Section 4, continental mega tsunamis, the catastrophic surge of the oceans. But the wind isn't the only unstoppable force here. We also have to account for billions of tons of seawater that would keep moving eastward, driven by that same inertia. We're talking about continental mega tsunamis way larger than anything in recorded history. These surges would act like planetary erasers, instantly sweeping inland and obliterating global coastal hubs. Cities like New York, Los Angeles, and Miami would literally be wiped out in seconds. Moving on to Section 5, aftermath and survival, and the collapse of modern civilization.
Surprisingly enough, the giant rock we actually live on would probably survive this 5-second pause just fine. But the fragile infrastructure that keeps human civilization alive, completely gone. We'd face an instant, unrecoverable chain reaction. First, the electric grids fail completely. Then, communication satellites lose synchronization, so there goes your GPS and internet. Transportation systems completely collapse, and of course, emergency services would be instantly overwhelmed and destroyed. There'd be no one coming to help.
Finally, Section 6, our delicate balance, why the Earth's spin actually matters. Even if, by some absolute miracle, you survive those initial 5 seconds, the long-term balance of our world would be totally shattered. Earth's smooth rotation literally dictates everything. A sudden stop and restart would make weather patterns highly unstable and disrupt ocean currents globally. It would alter our day and night cycle, creating longer days, and disturb the billion-year-old equilibrium that keeps our planet's very shape intact. Our global climate would be dangerously unstable for generations.
Thankfully, guys, this is just a wild thought experiment. There's absolutely no scientific evidence that a planetary brake check like this could ever happen. But it's a really powerful reminder. As the quote says, you're standing on a giant rock, racing through space at incredible speed. And somehow, it all feels perfectly still. We depend entirely on this delicate cosmic balance for every single peaceful sunrise.
So, mostly, just appreciate that smooth ride.
If you found this breakdown of planetary physics as fascinating as we did, jump into the comments and tell us, what other incredible what-if scenarios should we tackle in our next explainer? Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you next time.